Hey there, welcome to SellerMobile Overview. In this video, me and Hiba, who's the COO of SellerMobile and also the co-founder, we're gonna walk you through the tool SellerMobile and show you what it's all about so you can know better what SellerMobile is. So Hiba, I'm really happy to have you here as my guest. Could you please introduce yourself to us? Tell us a bit about yourself, please.
Absolutely, Vova. Thank you so much for having me on your show. I really like your YouTube videos. They're really fun to watch. You have a lot of personality, which I love.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So
Me too.
thank you. So I'm really glad to be on and just to tell you a little bit about SellerMobile. But let's start with who I am. So,
Yes.
like you mentioned, Hiba Weber, COO of SellerMobile. You know, I have been in e-commerce for a really long time. But we were just talking about this before we started recording. Was that I took a little detour. You know, it's so important to have life experiences. And
100%.
I've always been passionate about social justice. And so I took a little detour and went into social work. I got my master's from Columbia. I was in the Peace Corps. I lived in Azerbaijan, we were just talking
Yeah.
about. And so, but, you know, I have this other passion for e-commerce. And so, you know, it kind of led me back here. So last couple of years, I have really solely focused on SellerMobile as software. So, but I had mentioned that we were e-commerce sellers. So it was my brother and I and a friend, we kind of started this joint venture. And it was right out of college. We were selling party supplies, which is, you know, very cool to do right out of college. You think everybody wants it. It was glow and light up products. And honestly, the business grew and grew. And at the point of selling, which happened about a year and a half ago, we were doing close to 20 million in revenue. So we were doing really well. As we were scaling and growing our business, you know, we needed some really good reporting. We needed some really good data to figure out, you know, what is it that we want to do? How do we want to change? How do we want to restock? What do we want to sell? How are different listings and ASINs doing, especially on Amazon? So we created this software for ourselves, really, to help us manage our inventory. At some point, we had like 10,000 SKUs. Obviously, that's insane, but we were growing. And so we created sort of the concept of SellerMobile for ourselves. And we just really like that. And I, sort of background in social work, I love the idea of helping other people, especially other entrepreneurs, grow their businesses, expand like the work that they're doing. And so since a couple of years ago, SellerMobile has really kind of become a tool for other sellers to kind of help them scale the same way we did. So I'd love to kind of, you know, talk a little bit about SellerMobile, see what the unique vantage points are to help sellers look at information so they can make really good decisions when it comes to their e-commerce businesses.
Pretty awesome. And it's crazy to hear about your results with selling with your brother as partners. I guess you have reached very nice numbers in terms of, building this brand of, I guess, the party stuff. I like to party. Many people don't. So, it's nice and it's really big. I mean, I wish to reach these numbers in the future as well. And I do dig when you're saying that you're passionate about helping other entrepreneurs. I'm doing this not through software yet. Maybe at some point I'm doing this through videos, and I'm trying to give practical information to other sellers to, if they can expand their business even a bit more thanks to one video or something I've said. I did the thing for my day. I can go sleep.
It's rewarding. It's really rewarding to be able to do that. I agree.
Yeah, it is. So I'm happy to have you here, that you are, you can share the stuff with us. So would you please kindly do an overview of SellerMobile, kind of show us things, and it could be nice, I think.
I can definitely do that. So let me share my screen.
And it's crazy that you lived in Azerbaijan for 2 years, right? While doing your kind of social, I don't know how to say, social benefit to the world. And
it was just giving back. You're right. It was a crazy experience. I was just telling you earlier that, it was physically, it was very rough, like going from like America, to living in a small village where there's an outhouse and no like electricity sometimes. For sure, it was a life-changing experience, to say the least, but so rewarding. Like I said, it was just so amazing to bring something new to the local village where I lived, and kind of just share like a simpler life with them. And so for sure, it was really nice, but a crazy experience.
Unforgettable. I've traveled a year through Southeast Asia backpacking, so I didn't live in one place, but I was just moving through places and got a huge perspective on the world when I saw like a few new countries and I was just on the roads with my bag. Yeah,
For sure.
that's what made me
That's like
start.
I love like living like the local people. Just like kind of immersing yourself. So even when we travel, my husband and I, we just like to just immerse ourselves in local culture. There's so
Yes,
much to learn and
a
explore,
lot.
and it's pretty awesome.
Endless amounts of stuff to learn from other cultures, I would say.
Definitely, no doubt about it. Yeah. So you want to jump into it? You want to talk about the software?
Yeah, let's talk about the software, of course.
Let's do that. All right. Awesome. So when you first log into the SellerMobile desktop version of the software, this is kind of what we're going to talk about. This is what you see. But let me take one step back and tell you that SellerMobile has kind of two ways of viewing the software. The first is the desktop, and then the second is the mobile app. And it is a really robust mobile app. All the different kind of tools and features that you see here in SellerMobile, you have individual widgets for on the mobile app. And so it is chock full of information, especially for someone who loves to travel and not be in front of their computer all the time. It's just, like your little business dashboard to go. And like you said, like we think like sellers and we are traveling a lot. So, my family and I, we take these like really long vacations. And we're not always in front of the computer, but we are always working. And so you know how that is. And so it's really nice to have that mobile version of the software to kind of to keep track of things. And we can do another video just talking about the mobile version. But today, let's talk about the web app.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing you see here is kind of like big picture overview, right? You want to look at kind of your business as a whole. It's like when you look at reporting, you kind of want to take a gigantic holistic overview. But we know that changes can only be made at like the detail level. You can't really make changes at the holistic level, but the holistic level gives you information that you can then, dive deep in. The whole point of the software is to help identify pain points for your business, right? Every single business has its pain points, has issues where you're like, oh, I need to spend more energy on this. I need to look at this more. Before I make this decision, I need information to back up. I'm not like on a whim deciding, I don't know, what should we do today? Let's just restock.
Let's get some reviews.
Let's get some reviews. Let's see how that goes. You're not going to do too well.
Yeah.
It has to be. You've got to be planned. And that's what the software does. It doesn't, it's not a magic bullet that like you download it and ta-da, like your sales just increase. It just gives you data and information to make really good, thoughtful decisions. And so the idea is not to be paralyzed by this data. The idea is to take it in bits and pieces and chunks at a time. I like to give the analogy of, eating a pizza pie. If like someone like gave you a whole pizza and says, eat this, you'd be like, I can't do that. That's too much food. But if they cut it in slices for you, you're like, yeah, I could digest that. And so it's just that. It's having a methodical approach to digesting pieces of information that help you fix certain things, understand certain things better, and grow when it comes to your Amazon business. So here is, kind of big overview, right? And I'll start at the marketplace level, and then I'll go into the global dashboard, which we just released. And then I'll talk about what this looks like at the individual ASIN level. So here you see some really good relevant information. One thing that Amazon isn't the best at is being very upfront and clear about all the different costs and fees associated with selling on the platform, right? Mm-hmm. Amazon is wonderful when it comes to having a pre-made kind of audience that is ready to buy, right? Their intent is to buy. That's why they go on Amazon. But they also charge you for that. And so you need to know what those fees and costs are. There's, I think, about like 72 different costs and fees associated with selling on Amazon. So you need to know
72? I need to dig into that.
Something crazy like that.
I'm
Because
definitely bleeding money somewhere, I'm telling you.
right, but that's the whole idea. You're like, I'm
Okay.
definitely bleeding money somewhere. Well, what we help you do is we figure out, well, okay, where is
Yeah.
it? Let's
Yeah.
talk about where that is. Can I cut some costs? Can I increase
Yeah.
my margins to make up
Yes.
for, that expense, those fees and costs? And so here what you see are just, and you can change this by any kind of time frame that you want to, just any date range. We look at the last 2 years worth of data. We feel like that's a good amount to give you an idea of how, just like a pattern when it comes to your business. So here you see your orders and sales, your revenue, how much money you're making, but then here are the costs and fees. Now, a really important cost that is associated with your account, with selling on Amazon or just any e-commerce platform, is your cost of goods. Now, you don't want to put that in Amazon. You don't, because Amazon is also one of your competitors at times. We allow you to, and we obviously don't share this information with anyone, including Amazon, is we allow you to add in your cost of goods so then you can have a more accurate profit and margin. That way you really get to see your numbers. We allow you to integrate your PPC or Amazon advertising. So you can see, hey, what am I spending on advertising for this product? Does it make sense? And then we'll let you, and I can sort of give you a big overview. We let you dive deeper at the campaign level. Which campaigns are doing well, which aren't, at the ad group level, at the search term and keyword level. So it just keeps going deeper and deeper as you find like, hey, why does it look like that? Why is my ACOS, why is it so high there? What's going on? So we have some really good information there. The next thing, of course, is you want to see trends. You want to see, am I growing? Am I, decreasing? So this is just, same time last year. So you've got sort of more, apples to apples kinds of numbers. Is you see, am I in the green or am I in the red? Is something increasing? Is something decreasing? And if it's going up, great, you're doing a great job. If it's going down, let me dig deeper, see why.
Let's see why.
Exactly. We show you your FBA shipments, what's on the way to Amazon. We show you what your storage fees are for your FBA items. Is something sitting in there for a really long time and just collecting dust and costing you money? Is it time to dispose of it? Is it time to bring it back? Making those decisions with a data-driven approach, with a data mindset. If you are sharing your listing with other sellers, who are your competitors? How are they pricing their items? Who do they have buy box? Do you have buy box compared to them? We give you all sorts of averages. And then for items that have the highest capital asset, as a business person, cash flow is so important. You want to know where your money's stuck, right?
Yes.
And that is key. So we show you which of your listings, which of your ASINs have the highest capital. Where is all of your money? So you make sure that those items sell and you make your money. And so this is just like really big overview information.
So that's
and
on the dashboard overview. Like here, we're going to have all the numbers that are like, it's big overview, cost of goods. We have the sales. It's like the data that Amazon gives us, but on steroids, on heavy steroids. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And the good steroids, not the bad.
Yeah. Not the ones that, the good stuff. I mean,
the good stuff. Yeah. The little protein powder. I don't know if that's good.
Yeah.
You work out, you should know.
Actually, in my past, I used steroids. I was working very heavily on bodybuilding, but I don't recommend it to anyone. If you want, just use protein powders. That's enough for having a healthy body and eat well. But it's kind of the same on Amazon. I would use like steroids as black hat stuff. I wouldn't recommend too much. If you go gray a bit, I guess most of the people do that. But usually white, stay white, stay healthy, eat good food, and you're gonna grow on Amazon and in life if you can make the same.
And you're right, it's like a slow and steady process too, right? Like when you jump really high, you also crash really high. And you don't want that. You want a steady, because that's really, even when you have a new product, right? And you put a bunch of money in there for PPC, you try to get it to rank, you try to get it to, be on page 1, you obviously, have inventory. The goal is, right, to put that money in and then step back, decrease that money so you can actually make a profit, make a margin. So, a dashboard like this is great because you want to see, okay, fine, I spent a bunch of money here. I get it. I was in the red here. But at what point am I actually making my money back on this product? You know, that piece is really important, where you want to have that steadiness, right? And you can't do that on steroids. So you're absolutely right. It's kind of like black hat versus white. You want to be on the white side, even if you are at first playing around with it a little bit.
Yeah, long term, definitely.
For sure. So for any of the folks that watch you, Vova, that are, that are international sellers, or rather, I mean, you can be anywhere in the world, but if you are selling on multiple marketplaces, I said that we had launched this global dashboard, right? So let me give you like a very quick overview. It's some of the same information, but it's a different perspective. You are now comparing your different marketplaces. So here you can add and remove whatever marketplaces you want to look at. And we are integrated with about 17, I say about because I'm not 100% sure, but I want to say 17 different marketplaces. If it's not, I will send you an email.
I'll add it in the description. Yeah,
perfect.
Along with all the other stuff.
Yeah, I'll count it. And you can actually see, you know, when you go into the settings, you can see all the different marketplaces we integrate with. Then you can add and remove whatever you want to look at. Then you pick, you know, what time zone you want to see. Obviously matters, right? What is today in Germany is, you know, tomorrow in America. Well, probably the other way around. But
it's always somewhere is the future, somewhere is the past. The world is crazy, Hiba, I'm telling you.
Exactly, the world is crazy. It just goes round and round. And then you can pick, you know, what currency you want to look at this information in. That way, you know, whatever your currency is, maybe it makes the most sense to you. So here are, you know, how you're doing in all of these marketplaces overall. Then you get to kind of look at information is of the marketplaces. So here, you can't really see it because we're not doing any business in Canada and Mexico. And we've got the 3 North American marketplaces. But here you can see what the proportions are, right? So which marketplace is yielding the most profit? You know, where should I be spending my energy? Or where can I spend more energy so it's comparable to the marketplace that's doing really well? So the next piece is really to look at, you know, comparing the different marketplaces. You are looking at, you know, orders and sales. You're looking at costs, profit, margin, ROI, whatever is most interesting to you, or whatever hat you want to put on, right? Either the accountant hat or the restocking hat or the whatever you are in that moment. You want to look at information from that perspective. And then, like I said, that performance trend, right? But in any time frame that you want it to be. So is it 30 days? Is it this year to this time last year? Is it, you know, last 12 months to the 12 months before that? You can look at kind of what your trends are and how you're doing. And then we can talk a little bit about lost sales if you think that would be relevant, but we'll do that kind of in a second when I'm done with this piece. Restocking, you know, if you look at, what are my restocking values? This account is obviously doing really well when it comes to restocking. Everything is stocked to the optimal level. So our software isn't suggesting how much to restock. And again, I'll talk about restocking soon too. And then refunds, where are most of your refunds coming from? And then here is just some information about your inventory as it relates to different marketplaces. That is the global dashboard, really big picture, kind of letting you see an overview.
So that's going to be good for sellers that also sell in like Mexico, Germany, and wherever. So they can have all of their markets in one place instead of going to one by one. Here they can compare, see, devote more time to this or less time to that kind of.
Perfect. Yeah, absolutely. So it's just that if you're selling in multiple marketplaces, you want to look at a big picture overview. You know, because what would you do before? You would use an Excel sheet and create pivot tables. Well, we do all of that nitty gritty work for you. And that's the beautiful part about having a dashboard, right? That's created is I want to look at my reports. I want to look at my numbers. And if you're not looking at those things, maybe not a thing you look at every single day, but this is something you for sure need to be looking at regularly. If you have your own, so outside of Amazon, if you have your own, you know, e-commerce store, you've got your own website, I hope that you're looking at your Google Analytics, right? If you aren't, that you're missing out on a lot of key information there. So it's just like that. You know, Google Analytics gives you amazing information that's detailed. True. That really lets you see trends and how I'm doing. What pages are people going to? Where's the traffic going? What is broken? Let me fix that. The goal is the same, is to look at big picture and then dive in deep.
I see.
So the next piece I went in to show, and actually populated this was, so we looked at the dashboards. I went into inventory and I went into all my listings.
Uh-huh.
This is now really detailed information about your different ASINs. So of course the name and the image and everything is blocked out here, but you still have a lot of information to look at. And if you want, Vova, I can even make it a little bit bigger if that's easier to see. So here we show you, just all sorts of really good information. You get to see how much inventory you have for this listing, right? And it's kind of the different statuses, if it's available, unfulfillable, reserved, inbound. So what's going on with your inventory. You get to see how long that inventory, especially if it's FBA, has been, what the age of the inventory is, right? So if it's been sitting around, if it's like old, you know that you are paying additional FBA, long-term storage fees. You can sort of look at why is this. By the way, this is also a pretty cool feature. There was just a sale.
Oh, nice. That's good. That's good.
So, by the way,
good to get
so
a
it
sale.
says one new order. Yeah, so every time there's a sale, you get to see that there was a new order. And you can turn the cha-ching sound off if you're like working in an office and doing this on the side. But you can have this open at all times, just to know, hey, I got a sale. It's exciting.
I think for the big sellers, it's gonna be crazy.
It's gonna be annoying, and that's why we have the feature where you can actually just turn this off.
I think it's the wet dream of the new sellers also. When they start the Amazon, they want to get, at least that's what I remember when I started. I wanted to get notified with some sound back in. Now it's not loud, in terms of like, you get used to the business. But in the beginning, I thought like that would be nice to have something like this. So
it's exciting. It's very exciting. And even if you let's say you launch a new product, you've been doing this for a while, you want to a hawk monitor a new product, you can turn on the notifications for that one product.
Yes.
So that way it's not like every sale, I don't want to know. I know it's fine. I know I'm making sales, but you're right. It is exciting for new sellers.
Yeah.
And then here we break down what your buy box price is right now, what your price is right now, and then the different costs and fees associated with, this. But the reason why you don't see an ROI here is because the cost
exactly. No cost of goods
is missing. So it's important to be able to put that cost of goods so you can see your actual true numbers, or as true as you can make them at that item level. And then you see your 30-day profit and margin. So it's just really good overview information. Now, another thing that I don't even know if it's going to be relevant to you, but that's super cool for bigger sellers, is we actually allow you to create custom attributes at the product level. So meaning you want to be able to sort all of your different ASINs in a certain way that's customized, right? So not just by supplier, but by the type of product it is, seasonality. Like I want to sort just my, the ones that I know sell really well around Christmas time or the holiday time. It's a really weird custom thing to want to see, right? Well, we allow you to actually create 10 different attributes for any listing. And then you can go here in the filters and filter to see just those products, which is just kind of cool if you've got a lot of things to siphon through, right? You're like, I don't want to see all this. Today, my mindset is, or on my calendar, it says I need to be, Q4 is coming up. I know these items do really well in Q4 around Christmas time, whatever. Let me around October, September, October, look at just those items. Make sure what my stock is there. Make sure I want to restock just by those things that I know are really important. So, and those custom things can be anything you want. You just assign the attribute to whichever ASIN or listing you want. So you create the attribute and then you assign it to the listing.
Nice.
So I said earlier, right, that overview is great. It's really nice to have, but you know what? You can't really make any changes in the overview, right? Overview is just for information.
Yes.
Changes can be made at the ASIN level, right? That's where you can actually make a difference. Am I pumping in more money for PPC to increase sales? Am I, what's going on with the orders? What about my refunds for this particular, why is it that this one item is getting a lot of refunds? Do I need to check with my, do I need a new supplier? Do I need to change the listing? Like when I launched this product, I thought it was doing really well. And then all of a sudden, it's not. Well, why? So let me look at my reviews for this product. Let me look at my returns for this product. Let me look at my fees. Let me look at my inventory. There's all of this information that we give you up top here that is at the ASIN level. So it's specific to this product. So like I said, you see the profit, the same thing. You see your sales, you see your fees and costs, and then you see your profit and margin at this ASIN level. Then let me talk a little bit about forecast, because I think forecast is kind of cool. When you first look at this chart, I remember like the developers first showed me this chart and I was like, that's a lot of information. And it looks like it, but once you delve deep into the information, you're like, this is so cool. It makes perfect sense. So here we have what we call our demand forecast. So for especially since not necessarily new sellers, but sometimes sellers don't really know how much they should be restocking for the future, right? You may have some kind of formula in your head, but you may not have all the pieces. So what we do is we give you some pieces to help you restock smarter, okay? So again, if I'm going too fast, Vova, slow me down, because I tend to get excited and
I'm excited as well, and you are. We excite each other, and hopefully the audience as well.
Awesome.
I think it's fine. Yes.
So the forecast, what it does, it looks at your historic sales. So this product started selling in August of 2018. Remember I told you we take 2 years worth of data, right?
Yes.
And
so because now what is it, September now? Yes, 2020. Yeah. So I see it's counting about 2 years back.
And so what we do is we show you your historic sales, how many units you sold of this product historically. That's everything that you see in blue. Then we show you how much of this product you've sold this year, and that's everything in green starting from January. And then what we do is we forecast how much you're going to sell in the future. So it's not simply like I sold this last month, so I'm going to sell this much this month. It's really, there's like 14 different intense, crazy developer coded algorithms that help you, that we look at to forecast what your historic sales are going to be. Now the thing, which is pretty cool in and of itself, but the thing is, nothing can beat your entrepreneur's brain, right? Nothing can beat your experience. Nothing can beat your intuition. Now, the algorithm does not understand coronavirus, which has, been happening for so long. It didn't anticipate for that. It didn't anticipate for your supply chain to be messed up, for sales to increase, decrease, depending on what you were selling. Some people did really well, during this time, and some people were unfortunate and the product that they were selling wasn't necessary for the consumers during this crazy pandemic time. So what this software allows you to do is actually override the forecast. So let's say that you had a cash flow issue and you couldn't buy enough inventory last month, but you fixed your cash flow issue. You went and got a loan, you figured something out, whatever. You sold blood. No, I'm kidding. Don't sell blood. I'm just joking.
Oh, sorry. Sold blood?
I made a joke. I don't know.
I didn't hear what you said. So,
I said you sold blood to get money.
Oh, blood.
I'm just joking.
I mean, I'm not judging. Anyone can sell whatever they wish.
That was a joke. Okay. So whatever you did to fix your cash flow issue, right? And you were able to purchase inventory. Now your numbers maybe for last month or the month before didn't look so good. So this algorithm thinks, oh, you're not selling this product. Let me decrease the numbers for the future too. But that's not how this works. So what you can do is you can forecast how much you think you're going to sell in the future. And then the algorithm adjusts this information when it comes to our restock suggestion. So you can simply go here and override this information. You can say, you know what, I don't think that let me close it, I don't know, October, or I don't think I'm going to sell 413 units. I foresee selling 800 units, whatever. So you can actually edit the forecast to what you anticipate is going to be. And this will then change the restock suggestion. So it's using this algorithm, it's using science, but it's also an art, right? And that's what entrepreneurship is. Not everybody can do it. If it was just a simple formula, everyone would be doing it.
Yeah, probably.
But it's not. So never discount your intuition as a entrepreneur. And so the system allows you to take that into account and to, it suggests based on whatever changes you want to make for the foreseeable future up until next year. And so that is the demand forecast.
Nice. That's really good for any seller, beginner or not. And I've always mentioned also on my channel, and really that's what happened to me. Like the inventory management is in my opinion, it's like an art in a way. You need to you need to study it. It's not just, but here we have AI that can help us with this, plus our knowledge that we need to bring to the table as well, obviously. So the AI doesn't just switch it. We need to bring our entrepreneurial senses to this, but this really eases because it shows you the real data, so you can actually see yourself. You're like, well, let's see how we did last Christmas. 794, 806. So this year, probably, unless we really grew, we're going to be somewhere. I see. Okay, that's nice.
Yeah. So exactly, it's about making a good decision, but not like on whim and whimsy. It's about making good decisions based on data, so you can feel more confident about the inventory that you're about to purchase. Mm-hmm. So what this system does, let's talk, if you're okay with it, we can talk a little bit more about restocking, if that's fine.
You are welcome. I think it's very interesting to hear your kind of showing your software, but also giving us some kind of tips and ideas. That's cool.
Absolutely. Thank you. I mean, that's the whole point, right? The point is not to use this as a machine. It's to use this as a service, right?
Yes.
It's to think, because one of the cool things about SellerMobile is that the leadership team of SellerMobile were at some point, still are sellers, entrepreneurs. And it wasn't some coder in the back saying, I don't know, this information looks important, let's throw it in there. Yep. Why don't we show them this too? It's really serious sellers who are doing, 6, 7, 8 figures, and they think, I want this information. I cannot make a good decision about spending thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars in inventory unless I have this data to back it up. And that's the whole idea. Mm-hmm. One of the things that your audience doesn't do this is when it comes to restocking needs to be done on a regular basis. You don't like wake up one day and like, crap, inventory's low, I gotta get more. That's a really bad approach, because you're going to end up with lost sales. And the way we define lost sales is, you could have made a sale, but you didn't have enough inventory, so you lost the opportunity to make money, lost the opportunity to make sales. So what our system does is it takes it one step further. Again, this is really detailed, Vova. I hope you're okay with this.
I think it's great.
If that's too
Stop.
much.
No, I'm joking. No.
And that's that.
It's really interesting. I think the viewers are digging. If they are, drop the like button. Whoever's watching.
And if you want more information, we do demos. We'll talk about the thing that you want to talk about, the questions that you have, and ask me. I mean, you're a seller, obviously. Ask me questions that you're like, how do you do this? So that way it's like, I make sure that I'm on point. So one of the things that we do is we allow you to put in your restock settings, right? So essentially that is, what is your restock cycle? How often do you want to look at restocking inventory? So if you've got a few ASINs, it can be maybe not as regularly. If you've got a lot of ASINs, it can be more regularly. It's just really kind of what you have time for, right? Mm-hmm. So how often do you want to look at your inventory? You want to look at when I should be restocking. And this should definitely be on your calendar. It shouldn't be on a whim. It should be, for these ASINs, I will look at my restock the first Monday of the month, or the first and the third Monday of the month, whatever that is. So we allow you to put in what that restock cycle is, right? So it's 15 days. That's our kind of default, but you can change it to whatever you want it to be. The next piece is your safety period. This essentially means I want to have this many days worth of inventory in my FBA That way, anytime there's like a huge increase in sales or something is delayed, my shipment is delayed, there was an issue getting stuff, it's stuck at customs, whatever, I have a buffer of 15 days worth of inventory. And then the third piece we look at is the lead time. Well, how long does it take to get from the manufacturer, the supplier, your warehouse, if you have it internally, to Amazon FBA, right? Like what is that? In general, how long does that take? Based on that, we do the math, and based on that, we will tell you how often or how much to restock based on those, your specific restock point, your specific restock cycle. So this is kind of a nifty little chart here that just shows a nifty little data screen here that shows you what your current stock is, what's reserved, what's unfulfillable, what's inbound if it's on the way, what your forecast is for the next 7 days to the next 2 months, and then what we are telling you to restock. So this account, obviously there's nothing to be restocked. You're nice and fulfillable. You've got, based on, we look at your current stock levels, we look at what you're going to be selling in the next 2 months, and your restocks are way above, that. So there's nothing to restock right now. Yeah.
I see.
So you're good to go. But if you did have something to restock, it would show it right there. And then for this account, you would just go to restock now. The cool thing about SellerMobile is that we actually let you create a restock, an FBA restock plan right here within SellerMobile.
So you don't need to go to the Seller Central to create and stuff.
Correct. But the cool thing about this is, right, in Seller Central, you put in the ASIN that you want to restock, you type that in, it gives you information for that. Here, you can actually sort and filter by a lot of different pieces of information. That way, you're not just, having Excel on the side and then you're doing this in Seller Central and kind of, going back and forth. We're giving you this information here. But we take it one step further. Like I said, the good kind of steroids, we take it one step further. And we actually allow you to create a purchase order based on your restocking. Obviously, this is most relevant to people that are doing, private label, things that they're ordering over again. They have their own brand, they have their supplier. Is you can restock, or you can purchase, you can send your supplier the purchase order of what you want to buy from them based on the restock suggestions and your restock plan.
So it's going to come like a PDF or something?
Yeah, it's a downloadable PDF. And if you put in the supplier SKU, right, that's something that you have to manually put in for all that it will tell you the supplier SKU. So they have it right there. And we're actually, hasn't launched yet, but the next step is to actually be able to email your supplier. You put in the supplier's email right there, your restock, your PO, your purchase order goes straight to the supplier. Now, like I said, we don't believe in like half-assing anything. Sorry for the language. But what we do is we want to really we want to think like a seller who's got a lot of things to do, right?
Yes.
So let's say that you are restocking a bunch of stuff. Let's say you've got 15 ASINs, you want to restock all of it. You've got 4 ASINs from one guy, you've got 6 ASINs from another guy, you've got 5 ASINs from another supplier. When I say guy, I mean supplier, is you want to restock all of it. So what we let you do is we will let you restock by all of your suppliers, but we will create, based on your restock plan, 3 different purchase orders. So you don't have to worry about it. Well, it's created for you. We will split it by supplier 1, supplier 2, supplier 3. So obviously, to utilize this, you need to add in your supplier information. And like I said, this information isn't shared with anybody. So you add in your supplier information, and then you connect the supplier to the ASIN, to the listing. That way, we know where those go. So it's a huge way to save time, to save energy, to kind of look at things from a big perspective. What do you think? Do you think that this is something that's relevant to sellers? Is this something that's relevant to you?
Yeah, as a seller, I gotta say that, again, I mentioned before that my biggest, or I don't know if it's the biggest, but one of the biggest problems is, I'll tell you the 2 big problems, is understanding the cash flow and working right with this, and also the inventory management. Because, for example, for my products, it takes like 30 days to create them. and then it gets harder the longer it takes to create them, obviously, right? And if I have a place where I can see that in front of my eyes and rather not use only Excel sheets, which are completely fine, right? But it's just harder. And I started selling in late 16. There was less software generally to use. And now it's been like almost 4 years. And the market of the software also changed. A lot of stuff is getting easier. So that's cool. I think it's a needed thing for sellers. Yes, to your question.
For sure. I mean, and that's the thing is like, yeah, there are a lot of softwares. It depends on, what you kind of like to look at. We happen to just do a lot of stuff. And our goal is really to be a one-stop shop, right? Because the thing about using, 5 or 6 different softwares to do 5 or 6 different things is you're not comparing always apples to apples, right? You're like, it's not always the same. It's the formulas, softwares use. It's the way we think, right? This isn't just like pure data. It's like we've added elements to it that help you analyze the data, right? If you just want pure data, you can also look into Seller Central. This is taking it one step further. Data is great, but you've got to make sense of it. You've got to translate it into the way a seller sees and thinks about things. And so that's kind of our goal, is to have this one place to go to where you can just get a lot of different things. So the restock, I think, is a great tool for sellers. We also have a repricer. We're not just repricing down. It's not a race to the bottom. When an opportunity prevails, we allow you to set a strategy that also lets you reprice up to make the most margin when you can. That's really important. And so there's all these different scenarios where if your competitor's minimum price is below your minimum price, then instead of just stopping to reprice, we'll actually compete with the next best seller, right? So that way it's not that you're just like going down. That's not the goal. The goal is for you to, as a seller, make money, even though you're editing you're changing your prices. Or if you have the buy box and you're the only seller left in the game for that listing, then we'll actually start increasing your price incrementally. So you make the most margin. You have the buy box, you're the only seller, right? So why not make the most money there? And so until you maybe lose the buy box, and then we'll come back down.
So it's scanning all the competitors in the niche kind of thing, right? And works based on that.
All the competitors on that listing, correct?
On a listing. Oh, so that's more for wholesale, I guess?
It's more for like if you're doing retail arbitrage.
Retail arbitrage, yes, when many people are competing for the same listing. Okay, I see.
Exactly. Then we've got, a feedback generator tool, which you create a campaign and it sends out emails to your buyers with whatever template you want, So making sure you follow Amazon's, TOS and rules when it comes to this. Make sure that you're not breaking them, because Amazon is very strict when it comes to that stuff. You're sending too many emails, you will get shut down. Our software lets you send as many emails as you want, but I wouldn't recommend doing that. So, I think the rule of thumb is 1 email per order. Of course, you want to be careful about language. You don't want to, just say, write me a good review. You don't want to try to backlink anything and go to your own website. Of course, all of this stuff, and a lot of people do, but it's important to use these tools correctly. Otherwise, Amazon's strict. Like, they're not playing around.
Yeah, and also the other tools, for example, the restock, put on the right numbers. Don't make a little, like if you make a little mistake and you don't see that, like in anything in life, yes, it might just change the whole. So just, that's kind of obvious, right? But then, it's always just check what you're putting in, and that's easy, right? But still, it's good to remind this. Absolutely. And then you have PPC as well, like PPC ads.
Yeah, so our PPC is analytics. So it's information that will help you understand. So this account doesn't have PPC integrated. So it's an additional integration. So once you sign up for a SellerMobile account, we'll have you do an MWS integration, essentially, where we're getting information from your Seller Central. And then there's an additional integration for PPC, where another sale for PPC.
Great interview today.
There's another integration for
Yeah.
PPC that lets you, you got to connect, because it's a different login, and we're pulling data. So you get to see your best performing campaigns, your worst performing campaigns, where your money is going to, what your ACOS is, what your tacos are. Those are all really important numbers. So I want to leave you with one other piece that kind of brings me, the cha-ching actually reminded me of the notifications that we have. So aside from doing some sort of functional things for your Amazon business on SellerMobile, you also can set up like notifications and alerts. So we have, for the web app, we have, well, actually for the mobile app too, we have a couple of different ways that we will notify you. So the one is, like you see here, the number has not been added, so we can't send any SMSs or text messages. Once the number is verified, we can send you a text message. We send a push notification on your mobile, and we also do, like you heard earlier, a push notification on your desktop. So in terms of the alerts and notifications, we've got a few different categories, and it really just depends on what you want to be alerted to. So it can be, a daily sales summary where you get an email at the end of the day telling you what your sales or your profit, your margin, all of that good stuff. It can be margin information, like what of your products had a really high margin or low margin, so that way you can kind of focus on that. Of course, the new order piece, you can turn that off anytime you want to, but for new sellers, I think it's exciting to have. We'll do a summary notification of your advertising. How are your advertising campaigns doing, and so on and so forth. So I'm not going to read all of them for you. But the idea is we have alerts and notifications at the item level. So if you, let's say it's your own brand, your registered brand on Amazon, which I recommend, if you have a brand, please register your brand. It's worth the extra money that you pay, hands down. So if you have your own brand, somebody jumps on your listing, then we'll send you a notification saying, hey, do you have a hijacker on your listing? Now, it could be you are also a wholesaler and they're, selling their products on Amazon, and that's what you allow them to do, then that's perfectly fine. You can mark them as a competitor or a reseller rather than a hijacker, and then we won't send you any more notifications about that seller. When you're out of stock, which hopefully is not the case if you are regularly restocking, but if you are, you dropped the ball on something, if you're out of stock, we'll send you notifications about out of stock, what your storage fees are, right? Where your high inventories, we've got too much stuff, it's time to clear it out, right? Or do something. Or anytime there's a status change on your FBA shipments, that's important to know, right? When things are in stock and ready to be sold again. So
we choose which alerts we want, which alerts we don't want, and that's it. Then they will be. Yeah.
And you get to say how often you want it to. So there's like for some things where you can actually, say how often you if you want it real time, or if you want, whatever you want to pick, and where it goes to, which email address you want it to go to. It can go to the default email address you use to create your account. But if that's not the email address you use for your Amazon business, let's say, then, tell us, where do you want that email to go?
I see.
So yes.
First, thank you that you are sharing all this, that you are sharing your time with me and the audience. Really, thank you. That's really nice.
Very welcome.
Again, we didn't click on everything, which is completely fine, because otherwise it will be too long. Maybe I'll create a tutorial because I do these kind of tutorials where I walk step by step. However, I wanted this to be an overview. And one last question. I saw the product research alpha, right? The tool. So can you give us a few words about this as well, please?
We're working on a keyword research tool, right? That research is really important to, be able to see when it comes to, describing your listing, when it comes to your advertising. So it's just a product research tool where you get to see kind of what is in the market, what the impressions are, the click-through rates, and things like that. So it's just but it is alpha. So I actually just made your account in alpha. It was normally not in alpha. So it is something that we are working on that hasn't yet launched.
Okay, so
when it does, I'd love it if you invited us or invited me over to talk about it. I would really like that.
I would be glad to have you here again, drinking your Texas coffee and sharing some good information with us and the great vibes as well. That would be awesome. And Hiba, I wanted to ask you, for my audience, will there be some kind of discount you can give for your services? And do you think?
Of course. So we will, for anybody that's watching this video, anybody that follows you and, takes in all the wonderful information you give them, we will create we have, a coupon code VOVA10, Vova 10. So anybody that uses that coupon code will get 10% off of their reoccurring subscription, any plan you choose. We've got a couple of different plans where it's just analytics. We have a plan where you've got feedback and the Repricer. So a couple of things that automate processes for you, and then the FBA shipment tool, and then everything else is a third plan. And you can get 10% off every month for any of those plans if you use the code VOVA10.
Appreciate that, Hiba, that you were able to share this with the audience, and hopefully it helps them save some money and use the tool to kind of get their stocks better, get their sales better with the Repricer, or be that more reviews with the feedback, whatever people choose. And that's awesome. Thank you. And I will definitely be glad to have you here for maybe an overview of the mobile app, and we could talk about different things. You have huge experience on Amazon itself and generally in life. Which is cool. You've been around, you've done things, so it's cool to have you here.
I have been around. I guess you're dating me, Vova. Yeah, I'm not kidding. I'm still young at heart. But yeah, you're absolutely right. I love talking. I love the whole idea is to help other e-commerce sellers think in a way maybe they hadn't thought before, share some of our experiences, and you do the same. And I think that is wonderful.
Thank you. Yes, I hope to see you here again. Thank you for everything.
Absolutely.